When it comes to winning in pickleball doubles, one of the most important things, if not the most important thing, is the partnership, the player that you're playing with, how well you mesh together, which sounds obvious, but it doesn't get talked about nearly enough. So right now you have Ben and Gabe winning everything, so they're a solid partnership. You had in the past Collins and Ben playing together. That was another solid partnership that lasted for a while. They were winning for a long stretch, everything. Then at the end of last year, you had Hayden on the left, Staxrud on the right. That showed a lot of promise, and then that partnership got dissolved. The partnership and how well the two players mesh together is, if not the most important thing, one of the most important things, right? Obviously, like, individual skills matter and your mental game matters, but that's what always gets talked about. You have this player ranking that makes it seem as if pickleball doubles was a single player game. You have here Gabe at the top, then Ben, then Alshon, and so on. And you have here videos like this one, like, Ben, the greatest to ever do it. There's this game right now that just recently happened with Ben and Gabe. They played Collins and Yang at the Utah tournament. And at the end, the commentator asked Gabe, what do you feel like has made you the number one player right now? And Gabe is like, I've been working on my mental game, which is I'm sure he has, and I'm sure that matters and that helps him improve. But the number one reason why Gabe is number one is because he's partners with Ben, right? And I'm not saying that, it's all about Ben, because, which that's what they made it seem. So when Ben used to play with Colin, everybody was just like, Ben is carrying Colin, and like Colin, they didn't give Colin absolutely any credit, and everything was like because of Ben. But when you watch Ben at the MLP, like, he never does well, or at the very, like, the times that I've seen, the videos that I'm seeing, like, it's just Ben didn't do well with other partners. So Gabe is out there, he's like, my mental game, when in reality, it's like he has a good partner and they mesh well together. So that is something that doesn't get talked about nearly enough, which is why I wanted to make this video. Now I'm going to read a second here from my screen because I make some points. In this video, what I want to do is talk about what makes a good partnership. I'm going to give you my thoughts. The mistakes people make when picking a partner or making partnerships, how to think about partnerships. I'm going to share with you a weird framework. It's going to get a little woo-woo, but stick with me. I think you're going to get a lot out of it if you stick with me through the video. A woo-woo framework that is going to help you understand your game and who you naturally mesh with, because it's been my experience. I'm not an expert. I am a 4-0 player. It's been my experience when I play with other 4-0 players that I mesh well with some people, and with some people I don't. And so it's like, that's what this video I want to focus on, is what is that thing that allows you to have natural chemistry with somebody else? And I am going to give you some wild ideas also on some partnership ideas that I think could work in the pro tour. I think that'll be fun. And my hope is that by the end of you watching this video, you'll have a framework for understanding partnerships. It'll give you a better understanding of the game. Now, I'm a 4-0 player. I'm not some sort of pickleball guru. I'm not an expert by any means. I play really well with some people. I don't with some others. I wanted to explore why that is. And I've been using this weird framework, and this is going to be like the reason why I'm making this video. And I thought about this. So my wife and I, we run a business, and we've been using this weird woo-woo framework inside our company. And it's been working to help our team be more productive. And I thought, I wanted to explore this in pickleball, that framework, to see if it also could help me understand pickleball a little bit better. And I feel like it has, which is why I'm making this video, and I wanted to share this. Yeah, let's dive in. So when it comes to, let's talk about this weird framework first. This comes from, again, stick with me. It comes from the Ayurvedic tradition. This is like archaic Indian medicine. And they used to, you could think about it as holistic medicine that they used to practice in India. And it's been something that has been developed for thousands of years. I think I'm also not an Ayurvedic expert, but this framework of how they tend to categorize people into these 3 buckets has been super helpful for me. So they call it doshas. Okay, you don't need to know. It's gonna be a little bit weird, But again, just stick with me here. I'm going to share with you. You can think about these as kind of like Pokemon types, if you will. Okay, so one of the types, they call it wind. Another one, they call it fire. And the other one is earth. So you have 3 types. Okay, the wind, I'm going to explain each one, and then I'm going to explain how this applies to pickleball. Actually, I'll explain that now. So when it comes to wind players, you can think about this as a category of players. Wind players, on the positive side, they're creative, they're quick, they improvise, they're disruptor, like they change the rhythm, the pace. They're unpredictable, they're tricky, they're deceptive, right? So you can think of those kind of players. And then on the negative side, you have the wind players tend to be chaotic, streaky, ungrounded. Okay, so that's kind of the wind player here. Then on the fire side, on the positive side, you have somebody who's aggressive, decisive, intense. They play better under pressure. Now on the negative side, they could be impatient. They just like speed everything up. They have one gear, which is just like attack. You know, you've been you've played with these people that are just like, they want to attack absolutely everything, even if it isn't there. And in their mind, you're like, man, why'd he hit that shot? And then it's like they read your mind and they're like, yeah, it was there. And you're like, it wasn't. So that's on the negative side. They could also be players that get angry. They're players that make bad decisions in terms of like speed up balls that they shouldn't speed up, drive balls they shouldn't drive. They create too many unforced errors. That's like the negative side. They're forceful. They're trying to force make balls that aren't there, that shouldn't be forced. Okay. And then on the earth side, on the positive side, they're steady, structured, predictable, stable, consistent, disciplined, absorbing. They have great resets. On the negative side, they can be slow, sluggish. They don't have much offense. It's just defense. And they miss opportunity to attack and create offense, right? So you have those 3 players. This is why I wanted to share this with you. This has been super helpful for me to think about. So when it comes to tempo and rhythm, wind changes rhythm, fire speeds up rhythm, earth stabilizes rhythm, right? When it comes to people as individuals in Ayurveda, so the way they explain it is that most people have a primary, or everybody has a primary dosha, so a primary type, wind, fire, or earth, and then you have a secondary type. So you could be wind with a secondary type fire, or fire with a secondary type earth, or earth secondary type wind, etc. So you have usually there's like 6 combinations. Okay, if you want to know, just as a side note, I created a YouTube video that I'll link here that shows you that you could just take this test and it'll show you which one is your primary, which one is your secondary. It's been super accurate. I've shared it with people that I play pickleball with, and they found it very, very accurate, and it's helped them in their pickleball. It's helped me. So if you want that, let me know. I'm going to link that video here. You could just watch that after this video. I have here a couple of guesses. These are only guesses as to like in the Pro Tour, what types of the Ayurvedic type for each player. Well, I didn't do each player, but again, these are guesses because I don't know them. So I'm guessing Hayden is primary wind and secondary fire, right? So a very quick, creative player first, and also aggressive at the same time. Gabe Tardio. Gabe is, I would say, primarily wind as well, a very creative player, and then secondary fire. Same with CJ Klinger, same with like Jaume Martinez. Then you have like J Dubs, who's like somewhere, I don't know which one is first, whether it's earth first or wind first, but he's like defensive and also somewhat creative, lacks a little bit of that offense, if you will. Anna Lee, so that would be like a fire wind, like very aggressive, but also then secondary would be like quick and creative. Federico Staksrup, maybe also that way. When it comes to fire earth, I'm thinking Alshon, who can put aggression, but it can also be somebody stabilizing. And then you have on the earth fire side, you have Ben Johns, Colin Johns. And think about it. If you think of Ben, he's like primarily structured, organized, look at the qualities right here. Structure, predictable, stable, consistent. Those are like discipline. Those are all like the primary qualities of Ben. And then when the ball is high, he'll punish the ball and, he'll be that fire person attacking. He's aggressive, but that's like his secondary type, in my opinion. Who knows? They would have to take this test to find out exactly which one they are. Another thing is that just because you're a certain type does not mean that you play 100% that archetype, because people train a style of play that may not be naturally suited to how they think about the game. Okay, so for example, like Federico Staksrud, I think he's somewhere around win and fire, right? Either win first or fire first. But he tries to play a very structured game that he modeled after Ben Johns, who's a totally made up, completely different than Fed. So people can play different. It doesn't mean that because they're a certain way that they'll play exactly like how you would think. Like just because somebody has fire doesn't mean that they're gonna just drive everything. Okay, so you just wanted to state that. Now, when it comes to partnerships, the biggest mistake that people make when choosing who to partner with is that they think that they want to play with somebody like them. And this typically happens when it comes to fire people. They're like, the way to win. Fire people think that the way to win is through aggression. So I just need to partner with somebody who's just equally as aggressive or more aggressive, and we just need to have aggression. Or if you have somebody who's like steady, maybe they feel like when they play with people that are more win or win fire, they're like, playing with those people tends to be chaotic, or they're speeding everything up. The game needs to be slower. So I'm going to partner up with somebody who plays slow, just like me. That's the worst. Okay. So that's a big mistake right here. I'll explain why in a second. Another mistake that people make is that thinking that they need to win the game, they just need to be super aggressive. This is what I just said, because this is like the most common advice you hear in pickleball. You hear it from everybody. It doesn't matter like how long people have been playing for. Everybody just wants to be more aggressive. Like that just seems to be the answer everybody gives you for anything. It's just like they see the game as if like, okay, more aggression equals winning, less aggression equals losing. And that's as if it were like a hammer and everything is a nail. In pickleball, everything needs more aggression. That's just not the case. But anyway, let's talk about partnerships. Some partnerships are strong because the roles are obvious. When it comes to business, one of my business mentors, they shared with me, it's like when it comes to finding a partner for business, you want to find somebody that has completely different skill sets. You don't want to find somebody like you, because then you both have the same, like both of you will be doing the same thing, and a business is not just everybody does the same thing. You need somebody to do the marketing, somebody to do the sales and go get clients. And then you need somebody to put processes in place, stabilize the business. So there is almost like this offense, defense. You need somebody to have creativity to be able to see what opportunities there are. So there are many facets to business. Finding somebody that's complementary, it's ideal. Same thing here in pickleball. So some partnerships are just weak because both players, they want to do the same thing. Not to bring up here names, but like this partnership between Hayden and Patrick Quinn right now, when it came to Hayden and Fed, for example, this was a good partnership. The roles were more obvious there. At this point, like Hayden was creative and aggressive, and Staksrud played the more steady player. Okay. Now, when it comes to Patrick Quinn and Alshon, Patrick Quinn wants to attack, and then Alshon also wants to attack, and Alshon is taking middle balls with his backhand and not really doing much with it. And again, Alshon is a great player. But overall together, how they mesh well as a team, that's like you're seeing here, this game with Leonard and Hayworth, these are two great singles players that decided we're both great at aggression, let's partner together. But it worked here against Patrick Quinn and Alshon, where the games were close. They almost lost. And then same thing with Patrick Quinn and Jaume against Jaume. Where was this? Jaume and De Villiers, they also, this was a very close game. They also almost lost it. And this partnership right now, they're not meshing well together. A good team needs balance between creativity, pressure, and discipline, right? You can think about it also creativity, offense, and defense. When it comes to the Ayurvedic types, the earth, wind, or fire, wind creates, fire puts pressure, and earth stabilizes. So the best doubles teams usually have all three. So all three of them are present, even if only two people are on the court. So if one player is missing stability, this is how, like, now we're getting into like how to think about partnerships. If one player is missing stability, let's say they're wind and fire, fire, wind, then you want to pair them with an earth player primarily so that that person can be the stable player. If one player is missing offense, like let's say they're wind, earth, then you want to pair them with fire. If one player is missing creativity, then you want to pair them with wind, right? So the best partners are usually bringing in the function that the other player lacks. That's how you think about it. So you want to think about it complementary. A good team has pressure, variations, and patience. And the best partners usually have one player who creates and one player who stabilizes. They have together enough aggression to win and finish points and enough patience to avoid like unforced errors and self-destruction. The strongest pairings are complementary. They're not identical people playing together. You want to think complementary, not same. You want to think, do I need more stability? Do I need more aggression? Do I need more creativity? When partners come together, that's how the question they should ask. It's like, what am I missing, right? So if you have somebody who is wind fire, they need stabilization. They need somebody who's resetting, who's steady, who like is going to bring structure to the game. If they pair with somebody who's also wind fire, there's going to be a lot of unforced errors, a lot of bat speed ups, a lot of chaos happening, not enough resets, grounding, right? If you have somebody wind earth, they need aggression. You know, I mentioned J-Dubs. J-Dubs is I don't know which one he's first, but that's a lot of criticisms. If you read the comments, it's like, J-Dubs is not enough, is not aggressive enough. He doesn't need to be. He needs to partner up with somebody who's aggressive, right? Fire and wind, they need patience. Somebody who's going to, again, reset. If you have fire and earth, they need creativity. So if you look at this partnership right here, Ben and Colin, I think this partnership went a long way because together, I mean, they especially as the game was slower, Ben brought in some sort of aggression. Collins kept the game together. Both of them were really structured. They have both offense and defense. Now, where this lacked, and eventually why I think the better partnership is with Ben and Tardio, is that Tardio brings in an element of creativity to the partnership. So it brings all those elements that I'm talking about, where you have pressure coming from Ben as well as Tardio. You have the creativity and variation. Like when Tardio is like this question mark where when people hit the ball to him, they don't know what's going to happen. They don't know if he's going to lob it, speed it up, if he's going to hit some cross court like filthy shot or something like that. But then when they hit it to Ben, they know that he's going to be patient and they know, like, at least like with Ben, he's going to be very disciplined and measured with his shots. So they have all three elements in that partnership. Okay. Now, ultimately, this is what you want to do when it comes to partnerships is you want to own your strengths and then find partners that are strong where you're weak. That's how you make the best partnerships. And I don't know. I mean, like, I feel like when Hayden and Alshon got together, I feel like they kind of just went like, okay, well, I'm aggressive, you're aggressive, we can win this thing together. And that's not a good, right now what's happening is they need to somehow, if they're going to stick together, they got to figure out, like, if one player is going to create, then another player has to give and become a more defensive player. Now, this brings me to the next point. Is like, you don't want to look down at people that play different or look down at a certain role and make it seem as if it's worse, which is one of the things that I feel like is wrong with the pickleball community is like they look at this partnership between Ben and Colin Johns and they give Ben all the credit as if Ben was like he's like this, anybody who plays with Ben could just play alone and win, which I mean, it might be the case. He's really good, but like they don't give any credit to Collins for giving Ben the space that he did, for like doing his job well. Even if it was him taking like 20% of the court while Ben was taking 80% of the court, you're watching that Alshon is not doing the same thing with Patrick. I'm not saying maybe Patrick needs to take the smaller side of the court and let Alshon, I don't know which one of it, who's going to give there, but it's not obvious that like Ben by himself is the reason why they always won, and I'm saying it's not obvious because when Ben goes to play with other people at MLP, why is he not winning like he did with Collins? I think that is because this partnership worked. So you don't want to look down at the defensive role, or you don't want to look down if you're naturally defensive at somebody who's more, let's say, as a wind player, somebody who's like chaotic. You don't want to look down on that. Like that may be what you need, right? I hope this makes sense. I want to give you here before I finish the video, I want to tell you about a couple of partnerships that I think could work. Like think about it. Hayden. Okay. So you have, Hayden and Stacksroot, that was working well. Imagine Hayden and Colin Johns. That naturally works well together. Like if you look, let's do a quick exercise right here and just before wrapping it up, analyze the partnerships right now. So if you think of like Ben and Collins, out of the three elements, they had offense and defense, they lack creativity. If you look at Ben Johns and Gabe Tardio, they have all three. That makes them a strong partnership. If you look at Alshon and Patrick Wynn, what they're missing, so they have offense and creativity, but they're missing the stabilizing part of it, right? Somebody who's just going to be steady, somebody who's going to like keep the ball going and not make dumb mistakes. When you look at the partnership of Fed and Askew, they have offense and defense, but they're lacking a little bit of creativity. When you look at a partnership like CJ Klinger and J-Dubs, they have defense, they have creativity. CJ, very creative player, also attacks, but I feel like that's what that partnership is missing. They don't have enough offense to win. So you could use this framework to look at partnerships, but also when you're thinking about who do I play the tournament with, find somebody who complements your strengths. So that's it. That's what I wanted to chat about today in this video. I hope this has been helpful. If it has, leave a comment down below. And then also, if you watch this video right here in my YouTube channel, how to find your Ayurveda dosha, it'll help you identify which one you are. And I've even created another AI GPT that tells you how to play better with other people. Tells you how you should play your game best and who to partner up with. If you wanna have access to that, let me know in the comments and I'll link it for you. Okay? See you in the next video. Bye.